I'm officially putting Tiffany Henyard, the super mayor of the village of Dolton, Illinois, on notice. She is clearly corrupt.
It's unfortunate that politics are being played, but what has happened is $1 million out of my budget has been cut because of politics.
At the end of the day, vendors are not being paid. Board approved it. The vendors are not being paid.
How about you be a good leader, bring RFPs to the forefront, so not just us, but the residents and everybody else in America know how the money is being spent.
Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all black. Y'all are black. And y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman that's in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourself.
This is a disgrace that you have done to this village.
Mayor, you need to step down because you have disgraced this village. You really have. Everybody up there need to go. You are a disgrace. You done put black folks all the way back. And these officers, I'm ashamed of y'all because y'all are not honoring y'all badge the correct way. Because y'all doing all the stuff that the mayor wants y'all to do. And it's not right. That's not how police officers are supposed to act. You're supposed to protect us. I'm afraid of you all.
The drama in Thornton Township in Dolton, Illinois, has reached a boiling point. Controversial politician Tiffany Henyard, known for her exaggerated personality and polarizing leadership, is locked in a bitter fight to maintain her grip on power. Her latest scandal, being excluded from the Democratic ballot for township supervisor, has sent shockwaves through the local political scene. Election tampering, voter suppression, corruption, and lawsuits are flying in every direction. But the question remains, is Henyard truly a political martyr, or is she desperately clinging to a power she can no longer control?
I am history. I am the 21st century history. I am your Rosa Parks, your Harriet Tubmans. I am that person. Somebody has to say, never, never, ever give up.
Napoleon Harris, a state senator and Democratic committeeman whose recent decision to hold a caucus rather than a primary election has set the stage for a dramatic political showdown.
We had a caucus and the people voted for a slate of candidates to represent them at the April 1st consolidated election.
For the first time in over 30 years, Harris bypassed the traditional primary process.
The process was followed and it came out the way it was supposed to.
Opting instead for a caucus that many see as a calculated attempt to block Henyard's path.
Eligible, what does that mean? What happened?
Well, what happened was they didn't submit the required paperwork, didn't have a full slate, and they were deemed ineligible to run.
They didn't, meaning who?
Whoever they is.
Was this a legitimate move or a backroom deal orchestrated to sideline Henyard once and for all?
Ran my name through the mud and did everything. But guess what? As you pull the third on me, I must grow from it. And I will grow from it because I done went through it, but now I'm going to grow from it.
Henyard's name was conspicuously absent from the Democratic ballot, a move justified by her slate's failure to include a certified assessor. A seemingly minor technicality, but one that allowed Harris to quickly disqualify her. With the caucus tightly controlled by Harris and his allies, the outcome was clear. They secured the Democratic nomination for the upcoming election.
We are being treated as the resident, I say we, as though we were in prison in our own town, in a place where we pay taxes.
This decision didn't just spark a political rift, it ignited a firestorm of debate within the community. Was this an abuse of power or a necessary safeguard for the integrity of the process? Critics argue Harris's tactics were calculated to crush Henyard's ambitions, while her supporters claim this was a blatant political maneuver to lock her out of the race entirely. But the most explosive part of this saga came when Henyard, furious and defiant, stormed out of the caucus, accusing Harris of orchestrating an election coup.
Napoleon, how you feel now let the people be heard? You ain't let the people be heard.
She didn't hold back. This is election rigging at its finest, she exclaimed, calling the process not only illegal, but a deliberate attempt to undermine her and disenfranchise her supporters.
Napoleon Harris, the committeeman, the senator, has them stalling because he is in bed with them. He's their puppet master. He's telling them, don't go to board meetings, wait on assurance.
Her fiery words set the community alight. Henyard vowed to take legal action against those she believed had manipulated the system, framing her fight as a crusade against a corrupt political machine. Her supporters rallied behind her, echoing her accusations of voter suppression and election malpractice. But could her claims stand up in court, Or were they merely a smokescreen to deflect from her own political failures?
Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all black. Y'all are black. And y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman that's in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves.
We're all in the dark. Not only are the residents in the dark, but the trustees are also in the dark as well.
This progressive calculus, you can't criticize me, I'm a black woman in power, and compare that progressive calculus to Sharia Islamic law. And under Sharia law, the punishment for a crime depends on the identity of the perpetrator and the victim. So if a Jewish man kills a Muslim man, it's not the same penalty as if it were reversed, right? The justice is not blind under Sharia law. It's the exact same principle that happens under progressive calculus, right? Because it says whether you can judge whether I've committed an ethical breach or whether I am a good president of Harvard University or any other metric of a meritocracy depends on certain immutable characteristics. So progressive calculus is literally akin to Sharia law, and one has to think whether this is something that we want to codify within our society. It's grotesque.
The controversy surrounding Henyard has polarized Thornton Township. Supporters view her as a victim of political sabotage, while critics argue her removal from the ballot was a necessary step to ensure a fair process. The stakes couldn't be higher for Henyard. Her political future, her reputation, and the very future of her community now hang in the balance. But will her fiery rhetoric and determination to fight back restore her to the race, or will it only deepen the divisions within the township? Meanwhile, the caucus itself has become the epicenter of controversy. Held at the Homewood Flossmoor Park District Auditorium, the event descended into chaos, with Henyard accusing Harris of using underhanded tactics to prevent her supporters from attending. Hundreds of Henyard's backers were allegedly left out in the cold. While inside, Harris and his slate swiftly nominated themselves, conducting a rushed meeting that lasted only minutes. Was this a procedural necessity or a deliberate attempt to suppress dissent?
I think it's fair to the public to allow the committee man to host the caucus, whereas he wants to run in. I think it should have been left to the voters like it always has been.
Election lawyer Carrie Kraft Heffer has weighed in, revealing significant violations of procedural rules that raise serious questions about the caucus's legitimacy. Missing signed affidavits, inadequate safeguards for voter eligibility, and rushed proceedings. These lapses have only fueled Henyard's claims that the caucus was rigged from the start. Her supporters are convinced this was an orchestrated power grab, but Harris and his allies maintain that everything was done according to party rules. Yet some have suggested that Henyard's accusations of voter suppression may be a diversion from her own shortcomings. Did she fail to prepare adequately for the caucus? Critics point out that her slate's technical failures and logistical mishaps were her responsibility, not the fault of Harris or the caucus organizers. They argue that her failure to follow the rules undermines her claims of victimization.
I do not handle anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
The question on everyone's mind, was Henyard the victim of a corrupt system, or was she simply outplayed by a more savvy political rival? As legal battles loom and public opinion remains sharply divided, this political drama is far from over.
To provide a way, provide services, and we're not doing that because they're stalling government, gridlocking it, because they can't have their way. Come on, it's not high school.
Henyard's supporters continue to believe she's the only one capable of standing up to a corrupt political establishment. Her rhetoric, though, is becoming increasingly polarizing. Does she truly represent the people's will? Or is she more concerned with preserving her own political power at all costs? The tension is palpable, and the answers may soon come in a courtroom where Henyard's legal team is preparing to contest the results of the caucus. In a final twist, Henyard has become a figurehead for those who feel disenfranchised by the political system. Her supporters see her as a champion of democracy, vowing to take on a rigged system. But as her past controversies, allegations of misusing public funds, lavish spending, and a history of financial mismanagement come to light, the question arises, can Henyard truly be the face of change, or is she just another part of the political machine she claims to fight?
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
No comment.
You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Were you?
It's not paid by them.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
All right. Any other questions?
So you're not going to answer how taxpayer dollars are being spent? That seems odd.
I just answered it. What do you mean? I just answered your questions.
You said you wouldn't answer about Las Vegas.
You asked me a question and I responded.
The fate of Tiffany Henyard, the future of Thornton Township, and the integrity of the electoral process are all hanging by a thread. Will the truth come to light, or will this scandal go down as yet another example of a broken system? As Henyard battles for her political survival, the outcome remains uncertain. But one thing is clear, this fight is far from over. So what do you think? Is Tiffany Henyard a victim of a corrupt system, or is she just trying to cling to power in a desperate political game? With accusations of election rigging, voter suppression, and power grabs swirling around her, it's hard to know who to trust. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. The drama is far from over, and we want to hear what you think about this explosive political battle.
Super Mayor Tiffany A. Henyard, the people's mayor. So I heard you guys was looking for me. If you looking for Tiffany Henyard, press the subscribe button. Yes, you. Press the subscribe button.